I had resigned myself to never playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I didn't consider it a huge loss since it wasn't a mainline Fire Emblem game, and at the point it came out, I knew very little about Shin Megami Tensei either. Unlike other people, I was not optimistic about the chances of the game coming over to the Switch, what with the poor sales and amazing ability for the game to get stuck in controversy with every step it took. Shows what I know, I guess. When I finally did start learning more about Tokyo Mirage Sessions and thought, this is pretty cool, I wish I could play it, Nintendo heard my wish and granted us a Switch port. I'm very glad they did, because I think Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a solid game that more people should play, with an intriguing premise and excellent combat that serves to make the game a worthwhile pickup. The game that later came to be known as Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE started off as a proposed crossover between the Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei games. The result was not what people expected, see controversy number 1 on the list. But after taking some time to warm to the idea, it seemed some people came around to this part crossover and part completely new series thing that Atlus had created. With Atlus developing the game and Nintendo publishing, there was still hope that the resulting game would be good. The reviews for the game once it released on the Wii U in December 2015 in Japan and June 2016 in the West were quite positive. Sales numbers were less rosy though, although the initial release saw stronger sales numbers in the West than in Japan, surprising many, especially after there were costume and cutscene alterations made to the game for its Western release. See controversy number 2 on the list. The Switch port titled Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore was then announced coming out worldwide January 17, 2020. And not long after ran into its own controversy because the game was based on the Western version, not the Japanese version. With controversy number 3 out of the way, then the game released to pretty much the same positive reception and mediocre sales. The more things change, the more they stay the same, I guess. I'm sure you're all wondering now, what is this weird amalgamation of 2 series and a lot of original ideas that calls itself a game? Okay, perhaps that description is a little much, but it's certainly not your average game. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a JRPG set in Tokyo, a Tokyo that's being invaded by outside creatures called Mirages who are targeting people in the performing arts industry. You play as Itsuki Aoi, a high schooler who, along with his childhood friend Tsubasa Oribe, gets sucked into the world the Mirages are coming from called the Idolosphere. While there, they discover they have the abilities to fight back against the Mirages by pairing with Mirages of their own, the Fire Emblem characters Chrom and Shida, to become Mirage Masters. Is any of this sounding familiar to y'all? Because I swear I played a game with this premise recently. I just had it, but it escaped me. They then join a talent agency called Fortuna Entertainment that moonlights and daylights as the group fighting against this invasion and trying to figure out how to stop it. Along with a colorful cabal of actors, idols, and models, Itsuki and Tsubasa tackle the Mirage problem head-on while improving themselves in the performing arts world at the same time, since part of the premise is that the better your performing skills are, the better you are at being a Mirage Master. While the story on a surface level isn't all that unique, the focus on the Japanese entertainment system offers a chance for some clever insights which the game delivers on, although it is more flattering than some of Atlus's other games that deal with the same subject matter. The story is more than just an excuse plot, and I found myself enjoying the characters, especially how they interacted with each other. Even Itsuki, who gets criticism for being bland, wasn't too bad. He had some good moments just being the straight man in this wacky world. Although I do think they should have just made Tsubasa the main protagonist, since the story is more about her overcoming her performance anxiety and her traumatic past from when her sister and everyone other than her in a theater disappeared. The cast, though, definitely was a highlight for me, as they showed a good amount of character that pulled me further into the narrative, although their best moments generally came in their personal side stories. The other thing that pulled me further into the game, though, was the gameplay, because it is excellent. You explore around the map from a third-person perspective as Itsuki and enter several different idolospheres that serve as the dungeons in the game. The dungeons weren't all that notable. There were some gimmicks and puzzles that needed to be solved. Each dungeon serves as the main dungeon of a chapter for the first few chapters, and once they are completed, you get an intermission where you can catch up on side quests found while wandering Tokyo, or on the highly important and fun character side stories. With the dungeons though, I felt I was mostly just going through the paces to reach the best part of the gameplay, which was the combat. I probably would have felt more strongly against the dungeons if I didn't have unlimited time to explore them. Unlike Atlus's Persona series, there is no time progression in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. You can enter and exit the Idolospheres as many times as you need to in order to complete the chapter. As you wander around picking up treasures and navigating yourself around, enemies will appear that you can initiate battles with, and if you hit them with your sword before they reach you, you can sometimes gain an advantage to start combat. In combat, you take Itsuki along with 2 other characters for your team facing off against usually a small group of enemies. Each enemy then has weaknesses to various weapons based off of Fire Emblem weapons and elements based on Shin Megami Tensei elements. Targeting these weaknesses will allow you to defeat enemies faster, especially once your team starts learning session skills that get triggered by targeting weaknesses. These sessions are essential in the game because they allow other characters to jump into your combat and deal significant damage to enemies. You cannot beat this game without them. On top of this basic system, the game throws in new wrinkles every once in a while that can trigger at random and tip the scales in your favor. Ad-libs learned by characters after completing side stories can change a normal attack into a devastating chain attack. Then there are duo attacks that lengthen sessions along with dealing immense damage, healing the party, or inflicting status effects. That's not even all of them, as special performances are character-specific abilities that use up the SP you build up as a team. For a turn-based combat system, it feels dynamic even if you as the player don't have too active a role in things such as sessions. As usual, since this is an RPG, you gain levels for your character, but there is also a progression system for your weapon related to the Unity system. You access the Unity system by going to the Bloom Palace inside of the Fortuna Entertainment offices and interacting with the one and only Tiki, who unsurprisingly is an amazing character in this game too. Tiki is the best, and she shows that by helping you out with the important unities. The Unity system is split into 2 unities, Carnage Unity and Radiant Unity. As you fight with particular weapons, you gain skills, and once you've inherited all of its skills, it's a good idea to keep changing weapons through Carnage Unity to power up your current skills or get new ones. You do have limited skill slots though, so you've got to pick and choose, and some of those choices get really hard towards the end game. Radiant Unities are unlimited, mostly passive abilities that are granted to your characters that can range from boosts to HP or the EP you use for skills, or granting special performances or skills. There's a lot of systems in place relating to combat both in and out of battle, and mastering them, or at least reaching a comfortable level using all of them, is going to be critical when fighting enemies in the game. Your basic enemies are not likely to cause too many problems, especially once you've learned their weaknesses, so you don't need to worry too much about the difficulty in the field. The boss battles, though, are a different matter. I think for the most part, Tokyo Mirage Sessions bosses fall on the tough but not annoying side. There are exceptions to that, though, so be prepared anytime the game warns you of a dangerous presence up ahead. In order to get through the game, in addition to balancing skills in your party, then you'll have to balance strategies in battle. How defensive should you play? Is buffing allies and debuffing enemies a worthwhile approach? How about all-out offense? The strategy changes for each boss, and so you've got to think about how to best exploit the enemies. Tokyo Mirage Sessions combat gameplay is top tier in many different areas, and I think it is worth giving a shot to this game just for that if you enjoy the gameplay in pretty much any Atlus game. Since Encore is a port of the Wii U title then, and there were changes and additions for the Switch version, is it worth it for people who have played the Wii U version to pick up the Switch one? While it is certainly the definitive version of the game, I'm not sure there's enough new stuff to justify buying another copy if you have it on the Wii U. In order for you to make your own choice though, here's a breakdown of what's new. New costumes based on Three Houses, Etrian Odyssey, and Persona 5, a new song which is quite catchy. Give it a quick listen. A new dungeon that leads up to the new song, mainly about Tsubasa and Kiria, plus some side dungeons that allow for easier leveling up, important side characters jumping into sessions now, and the Quick Session Edition, which makes the combat a lot more streamlined, probably the best addition to the game. I can't imagine not having sessions sped up. How did you Wii U players sit through all of them? These additions are not insignificant, but I'd be hesitant to grab this version if I'd played the previous one just for those additions, although you can't underestimate the value of the Switch's portability as well. The game is a standout visually as well. Vibrant colors flood the screen, especially while exploring Tokyo, whereas the Idolospheres are darker but no less flashy. It helps that the animation for the characters is lively because it really gives the impression of a busy and colorful world in which these characters inhabit. There are some shifts in the art style between certain cutscenes and the game models, and honestly, the game models I think are my preferred style, since I feel they fit the world better and are smoother. Either way though, they are visually nice. The vocal performances also serve to help bring out the excitement, even if I don't understand precisely what they are saying. It is true there is no English dub in this game, so the voice acting is entirely in Japanese. Tone, though, can carry across the language barrier, and it fits the localization most of the time. Take that as you will, though, because I can't really judge a localization given my inability to understand the original Japanese. It is clear, though, that they got some talented performers in for the cast of this game. I guess you have to in a game with a premise like this one. Is it any wonder, then, that the vocal performances with singing and the music in general are also really good? The music of Tokyo Mirage Sessions is superb, which is to be expected. But I'm not just talking about the vocal performances seen with songs like Reincarnation or Raindrop Memories. The basic themes for areas, battles, and characters are excellent as well, and are well tailored to fit the personality or atmosphere for every moment of the game. Sure, there are certain songs that are more standouts than others, but on the whole, Tokyo Mirage Sessions sets a high standard for its music from the first note and maintains it until the song ends and the curtain falls. It is not a true crossover between Fire Emblem and Atlus's library of games, but it holds enough of the elements of both that I think fans of either can enjoy the references in the gameplay and story. In addition to that, JRPG fans in general should enjoy the very fun gameplay system and may enjoy the traditional JRPG story told in a different way than usual given this cast of performers. Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE Encore offers a lot to fans of the JRPG genre and now is more accessible and better than ever. The additions may not be enough to justify a purchase of the Switch version if you already have the original, but if you want to give the game a try, this is the version you should play. Nintendo has once again succeeded in bringing a Wii U title to the Switch. Let me know in the comments which Wii U port you think is next, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to keep up with me and these videos, please consider subscribing and even sharing the channel with others. I hope to see you all next time. Have a great day, and happy gaming!